Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Guys, I want to take this time and thank each and every single one of you for subscribing to the channel and watching the channel. Thank you so much, and I really hope that the information is helpful. And if you guys have any topics that you want me to address in this channel, please do leave the comments below. But I gotta say it, please do not forget to share the channel to your friends and to your family, because sharing it means we all become financially smart. And that's the aim is that we all become financially smart in our personal life, in our businesses, in our side hustle. So this channel is here to help each and every one of us to become financially smart. Anyway, guys, today's topic I have is debts. So I'm gonna talk about good and bad debts, but overall I just want to address some information about debts out there. But before I do that, please don't forget that any information that I share doesn't come from a debt counselor or a financial advisor. This information is what I've learned and what I've gathered in my personal journey of finances. So I'm just going to be sharing some more insight of what I've learned and what is actually out there. So guys, let's get to it. Hi guys, so today's topic, as I mentioned, is about debts. So I'm going to be talking about debts and how we ended up in debts and how we can address the debts. Sometimes I know people always address avoid bad debts, do good debts, and sometimes it gets confusing on what is actually good debts or what is actually a bad debt. And other people also, I knew they started employment, they don't want to take debt, they're scared of taking debts. So we're just gonna address some few topics on what it actually means debt, what is good debt, what is considered a bad debt. And then also there are people that are already in debt, but they want to move away from these debts, but they just don't know where to start, because most of the time people always say that you must pay the debt that has the highest interest, and then it gets so confusing, like which one is that one, because I have so much debt, and it gets very confusing. So I'm just gonna be sharing insight on those. So first of all guys, I want to take this time and acknowledge that not everybody that is in debt made bad decision in their lives. So I want to acknowledge that yes, you find yourself in a corner today, you are in debt, and then you're feeling like bad about yourself. Don't feel bad about yourself, because that's not a point of repentance. A point of repentance is saying that I'm in this debt now. I know that some of the reason that I'm in debt were personal, some of the reason were necessary decisions that I needed to make at the time. So now, how do I address this? How do I move away from this debt that I find myself into? So this is what this channel is about, to address the issue, not just to make you feel bad that you're in debt or make you feel like you're making horrible decisions. And to be honest with you, at the time when you look at your debt later on, you just look at this decision like, did I really needed that debt? Why did I make that decision? Why did I take that? And you really feel bad, because now they are just too much and overwhelming you. So I get it, I understand how overwhelming debt can be, and they make you sleepless nights, they make you not sleep. I understand this because I've experienced also to close family, because they've been struggling with that, and they're just having a lot of time and anxiety trying to move and heal from all these debts they find themselves into. So I understand the pressure, understand the feeling that it revolves around pressure, around debts. So I'm gonna acknowledge it, and I want us to talk about how we can fix it. But first, before we talk about some of this out, I'm gonna just share my story, and then as I share my story, I will go in and point out the pointers of how I moved out of debt. So I also had at some point find myself in debt, and how this debt came about. So I started working. First debt that I made was I needed a good cell phone, so I couldn't. No bank trusted me with anything, so I did the first thing, which is to open a store account. and take out a cell phone out of that store account. That was the first step that I made as a new young professional young person out there. And so as years continues, at first, yes, I can manage. I was able to manage to pay out that account on month-to-month basis because I'm employed and I can afford it, so it was easy to manage it. But eventually life happened that I literally moved to a different city. So when I moved to a different city, what happened is that I experienced more expenses than I used to have. So I experienced rent. I had to unfortunately, where I was staying, I was not paying rent. So fortunately for me, so I had different expenses that I incurred now that I moved to a different city. I had like rent, I had like food that I needed to pay on my own, I had like electricity bills, I have water bills. Like all my bills went higher than I expected. And when I took the job, when I like, okay, let me look at how much money they're offering me and how much rent can I afford. And that's just how I did it, like to say, okay, I'm getting extra 10k, so meaning I can afford a 5k I can afford a 6k or 7k apartment. And that was the biggest mistake of my life, because there were many expenses surrounding moving to a different city. So that was how I ended up in debt, because I undercalculated my expenditure when I moved. So when I realized that I was actually in debt, this is what I did. First of all, what I did is that I started planning out my finances. I sat down and did a spreadsheet and budgeted my finances. I listed all my expenses. I separated my debt. I separated my needs expenses. I separated my wants. In that way, it gave me a clear picture of where my money was going, where my majority of my income was going. Was it going to debt? Was it going to my needs? Was it going to my wants? And it turns out that it was going to my debts. So it was a difficult time in my life. I really want to say it. It was very difficult time, but God brought me through it. So the first step that I did of how I recovered is, first I jotted down a plan. That's my finances. This is how they look like, and I know now. Then it helped me to dot out a plan how to move away from those debts. The first one that I did is I use my bonus money. Lucky enough, I do work in a private sector. Sometimes you don't get those bonuses or those incentives. Very tough out there. So the first thing that I did is I used my bonus money. Lucky enough, that year we got bonuses to pay all the small things. I paid the small short loans. I paid those my sisters that I owe, my aunts, those short machonisa or short loans that I paid out. So I use all my bonuses to do that. So unfortunately for me, in December I didn't have a lot of groceries to bring home because I had to pay debts. And lucky enough, my family understood that. So I'm so grateful for that as well. I know that about Singabantu as funny, so things can be different for each and every single one of us. And then later on, as the next year began, I did I did cover out some of the small things, but I also had like some other things that I needed to cover. I still had like a store card, I still have like credit card, I still have like a personal loan, and they were still huge. So I was like a bit tied up. Then I still had the car. Oh, sorry. I still had a car that I was still paying. So I was my finances were still very tight still. So the next thing that I did is, to be honest with you, that's when I really got frustrated with my store card, with my store credit, because somehow I actually realized when people say do not take store credit, it really doesn't end. Like really, that was the most frustrating experience of my life. Just that card was just it was not going anywhere. The money that I owe is the money I owe each and every single month. Like every single month I owe the same amount of money, but I pay every single month those minimum payments. It was frustrating me. So the next thing that I did, because I was able to still pay my debts, so what I did is I applied for a consolidated loan, personal loan, and lucky enough, because my debts, I was able to pay a minimum payments on them, so the bank did give me that, and that saved me a lot, because I managed to pay all the other debts that that I have higher interest, which is when my credit card, which were my store card, and then portion of my loan. But then I left with this one loan that I was paying, and then it covered all my expenditure. But I think I had some other loans as well. I just don't remember on top of my head, but I think I had water bills, municipality bills to pay at the time. So it really helped me a lot to at least have one payment that had covered all the big interest type of expenditure. So it really worked on my favor. So I'm grateful for that. So that's what I did, the first part of how I recovered from my debts. And then what happened next as well is that I also got a promotion that helped me to not just yes, at the time I'm going to be explaining, I did not pay anything towards my cell phone contract or my car installment debt, because those on the side, because they have like a longer period, they are called almost the good type of debts, so I didn't pay them out whatsoever. So I just covered the small type of loans. So when I got a promotion, I was just so glad. So I needed to decide whether I want to pay out this loan very quickly or do I want to save. And lucky enough for me, I think I was able to manage to do the same, where I can start by little saving. As I mentioned, if you want to know some tips on saving, please do watch my last video. I did share some lengthy video on advices on how you can start saving. So literally that video, literally on that video I shared types of how you can save, and literally that's how I started. That's how I gathered all that information, because I was given this opportunity now to start saving, and I wanted to know how, and I wanted to check my debt and check if I take my own money and pay all these debts instead of saving. But so I'm grateful for that. So that's how I moved from my debts, and that really helped me. So it really requires someone to be able to be willing to sacrifice. Unfortunately, for you to move out of debt, you must be willing to sacrifice some of the things that could have been nicer that you wanted to do with your money. So I really want you to know that. And it requires sacrifice, it requires discipline, it requires you being intentional about your debts, and it requires you to be aware what are your debts and what are not there. So if someone is new and they haven't taken debt and they just started employment and they are just wondering, can I take debt? Can I not take debt? Which debt is good? Which debt is not good? Do analyze the type of debt that you want, and then I would say analyze what normally a long-term debt is, what we considered safe. You're normally like your car, your house. This is normally called the debt that you can use for investment purposes. So I'm gonna be sharing more on this thing, but I think I'm gonna do this video in two parts. I'm gonna share part 2, where I'm just gonna go and explain different types of debts and just go in length details about it. But I do want to say to someone who is new and they are employed and they are scared to take debts, analyze. First of all, I will say always look at your expenditure. Understand how much debt you can be able to pay with your income every single month. That starts with a budget plan. So always start with a budget plan, not a head-on budget, not the one where you can say remove that and then take a calculator when you are in the bus going to work and calculate and do quick calculation. That doesn't normally work. Sit down, take your bank statement, analyze your income and understand where it goes. And then the next thing that I would say is understand that not every debt that you qualify for is good for you. So do not take it, oh, I qualify for a credit card, and then you take it. Oh, I qualify for a loan of this much, then you take it. Oh, I qualify for overdraft, then you take it. Oh, I qualify for this, then you take it, and then you take it, and then I qualify for a short loan, then you take it. Not all of those days that you qualify for, you are able to repay them each and every single month. Hence why it's important to budget, so that you can understand how much you can afford to pay on day-to-day basis. Every time someone offers you a loan, always look at what's the payment plan for this loan that I'm taking. Is it a short-term loan? How much interest am I going to pay? How much am I going to pay on month-to-month basis? Can I afford it? Can it fit within my money that I'm earning? Because sometimes you qualify for all of these things, and then when you look at your income, you can't pay out all these debts at the same time with the income that you're receiving. So do not take debt that is beyond your income, even if you qualify for, even if the banks they offer it to you. Do not take them. Always check your budget. Always check how much are you willing to pay, how much you're gonna be repaying back to this loan, and how, if the necessity of the loan or the necessity of the debt that you're gonna be taking, is it really necessary? How is this gonna help me? How is this beneficial to me and my family? So always do an analysis before you take debt. So that's what I will say to someone who's new, to say that actually I don't know when to take debt or anything. Well, budget first, then check which debt can you be able to afford, and choose a debt that has less interest rate that you need to pay. And normally a long-term debt is the one that we will consider. The long-term debt does have higher interest, but it is considered as the most safest interest. It considered the lowest interest rate that you can pay at, which could be anything from your car, mortgage, or anything else that is out there that is long term. It can be considered the most safest. The bad debts for that you really need to consider before you taking is a shop debt, is a credit card debt, is a personal loan, is a short term, is an overdraft. Really do think about those before you take them, the necessity of them, and if you are able to pay them back. So the important part is analyze your income. Are you able to pay your debt back? So that's the very important point to analyze and check before you take that debt. So I'm gonna end this video right here, and then I'm gonna do part 2, and then part 2 I'm gonna be talking about the actual debt that you are already in debt now, and this is how you should attack this debt. So see you on part 2. Bye for now.